I'm Jim Phillips, and welcome to Townsquare Sunday. Every year, New Bedford and communities around the nation take part in the National Night Out. It's a program to bring people together and to send a message that there's people who care about their neighborhoods, and they'll do what they can to keep them safe. My guest is Jerry Pinto of Neighborhoods United here in New Bedford. Jerry, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me in.
You are organizing with partners National Night Out here in New Bedford. First of all, tell us about that. Who are your partners, first of all?
Who are our partners? Boy, the list each year is bigger and bigger, but
Sure.
Mostly are public safety officials from the city of New Bedford. We've partnered up in the last couple of years with Acushnet, Dartmouth, to some capacity, Fairhaven, Mass State Police, Fire Department, EMS. We have a list that's just impressive and very warming.
All right. When and where is this year's celebration, Jerry?
We'll be celebrating this year at the A.J. Gomes School, the north side of the school, at on South 2nd Street.
That's August 1st, right? Is
Yes,
that August
yes,
1st
yes.
date? What time?
It's from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m.
Okay. The north side of the school or the south side?
The north side.
Okay. Is that a different location?
Well, what I've done since I've been president is moved it all over the city in
Yeah.
different spots, and this year we've taken it back to where it originally was held at.
All right, on the north side.
On the north side, right by the cemetery.
Okay. And it's going to be August 1st, starting at 5 o'clock. Tell us what happens there for those who've never attended.
Well, what we're going to do at 5 o'clock is, and we do this every year at the same time, we'll have our opening ceremonies, remember some of our fallen officers and public safety officials that have passed over the last year. And after that, we kind of just get into a great night of, I call it fun education, interactive education, one-on-one with the children and parents, along with law enforcement and the children and parents. It's just a night of fun.
Yeah, and it's really a night of communication. The concept of National Night Out is really more than just a few speeches or a hot dog or two. It's really a chance to bring people together in a common cause, and the cause is safety.
Exactly. And, safety from our homes with our lights in front of them to just looking around our neighborhood and seeing something that's out of place and knowing how to report it. And the other piece, I kind of see it as a safety factor, too, is the relationships between the law enforcement, public safety officials, and the people of the community. National Night Out is about all of us being on the same field, at the same height, being equal. And the other side of it.
Now, some people might think, well, this is a night where we go out and bash people who commit crimes and rev up the neighborhood watch groups and all of that. Well, I'm sure there's some of that to some degree, but really it's more about having a good time and getting to know your neighbors.
Exactly.
More so than organizing vigilante groups and things like that. That's not it at all.
No, that's not what we're about, and that's not what the night's about.
So it goes on for 3 hours, and there is some food there.
Yes, there is.
And there is some entertainment there.
Yes, there is. We have music.
All right. And so and there'll be a few police cars there. People can take a look at some of those, I imagine.
Yep. Well, every year there's a ton, and the New Bedford Police Department's really worked out nice with different agencies throughout the state, like the environmental police. Last year we had them. They're going to be there again this year. Dartmouth, the Acushnet PD, Mass State Police, and we're hoping that the helicopter does come.
All right, going to have a helicopter landing and launch.
We're hoping. The paperwork has been put in, so
Sure.
I'm sure it's going to be there.
You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. I'm Jim Phillips. My guest is Jerry Pinto of Neighborhoods United. Jerry, it's been a tough side. I don't need to tell you. You listen to these. You live in the city. You listen to these complaints from people involved in neighborhood groups who are active people to begin with. They wouldn't be involved in a neighborhood group if they didn't really care about what's going on around them. But it has been a tough summer so far with too many shootings. I'm not sure what neighborhood groups can do about that directly, except to set up a dialogue with police. And the old saying, really, if you see something, say something.
I couldn't say it any better myself, Jim. And when we talk about the neighbors being alert and aware what's going on, I want to use an example. This past Sunday, house that I was working in was broken into, and all of my tools were stolen. And because the neighbors that live around there saw something out of place, they did call the police. And, great police work, by the New Bedford Police Department. We almost have the person that did it. Mm-hmm. But, again, the neighbors have to not be afraid. There's an anonymous line. Call it. You see something that's not right, call it. It looks out of place, call it. You know your neighborhood, you know your streets. And it doesn't make a difference. You can't get in trouble for being too safe. Don't be afraid to use the number.
Right. And that's very good advice, Jerry. It's, I think in New Bedford, there are a lot of people who call. There's still a number of people who live in tough neighborhoods that may not call, may be afraid, may, code of silence, whatever you want to call it. I still think there's some of that, I'm sure. But there are a lot of people who call, who care, and who call. Any other stories recently that have happened? That one's directly involving you, but and anything else? And I wanted to bring it out tonight to everybody because everybody to some point in their life are going to be a victim to some type of crime, no matter who you are. And it's not just, people that are living, as they would say, the bad neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. It can happen to anybody. And experiencing what I've experienced in the last week with it, it does not feel good. And I was just so happy because the nosy neighbor made the call. And I can't put the emphasis enough. Call the police. I know people call because I see the call list. Call the police. Let them know what's going on. Get your tools back yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't gotten my tools back.
I wish you well. Hope you do.
I hope so too.
How's the morale among neighborhood groups? You meet every, I don't know if it's every month or 2 months. What are you doing?
Well, Neighborhood United, when we all come together, we meet once a month. But the neighborhood meetings in general that are placed throughout the city, they meet once a month, or summertime and wintertime, they kind of, play a little bit of the holiday game, I call it. But we need people to be there. Our leaders from Cove Street, Bullard Street Neighborhood Association, Mount Pleasant Street, Clark's Point, the Gomes School Association. Yeah. These people put so many hours into this monthly meeting, and 2 people are better than no people, but you know what? We need more people to be out there. We have it set up. If there's a concern, you don't want to say it publicly in front of everybody, wait till after the meeting. Talk to the police then. Talk to us. We'll be that middle person.
And there's an officer assigned to these neighborhood group meetings?
Yes, community police officers. Mm-hmm. And we have some great ones. We have, Officer Gibney in the south end of New Bedford, Officer Consatio in the middle part of the city, and then we have Officer Bobby Gomes in the north end part of the city.
And they're doing their job. They listen, carry it back, do what they can, and hopefully you can have some of these things solved. So morale for people who are active, they're interested, they're involved.
Oh yeah, they are.
But there probably aren't enough people involved. Really.
No, there isn't, and it just sometimes you really feel you get frustrated. We use the example of the Pulaski School group in the far north end that's headed up by Bob Souza. He's built this thing and kept it going and going and going, and him and his wife have kind of stepped back because he'll have the chief there, he'll have the mayor, the superintendent, somebody from the state or state rep, and nobody shows up, and it hurts. it hurts to see your partners, or as I would call my neighborhood community family, hurt because you know the work.
Well, that's probably, I'm sure there's crime in the far north end, but it's probably a lower crime area. And there may be many people who don't feel the necessity, that we don't have a big problem here. But you know what? Those problems can move from the south and the central to the north end pretty quickly.
There's no discrimination with crime.
Right.
And why wait for it to happen and then go to a neighborhood meeting? Let's go to the neighborhood meeting to help prevent and to let people know what you are seeing.
And that's part of what I think National Night Out, or New Bedford Night Out on August 1st, is really all about. You can get to meet some of these people. You get to meet Jerry and other people who are very much involved in safety in neighborhoods, and perhaps best of all, no intent to insult you, Jerry, here, but the best of all, you can meet the police chief.
Absolutely.
You can meet the neighborhood officers and the officers who are. I know they're school resource officers, but they are also. Is it the same officers who work in school?
Actually, no.
Okay.
No, we definitely.
These are
our
community resource officers,
and that's their specific job. And when we work with them, we also work hand in hand with the police chief, who has been great with the community groups and the neighborhoods, and helping to better, our streets.
What about, I want to talk about those meetings with the chief. Are they productive? Do you have regular meetings? I know with Chief Prevention you did.
We do.
Every chief's different.
Yes, we do. That's one thing that hasn't changed in all the years that I've been with the group. Our meetings with the chief are very productive. We sit and we talk, and we kind of map out what's going on here, and here, even though they're aware, but we also see things from a different perspective because a lot of us live in these areas that, we're talking about where these problems are, and the information the chief provides to us and what strategies he's going to use, or not, give us all the information, but, different strategies he's trying to use in these areas kind of puts us at a level of comfort.
What's the number one thing that neighborhood leaders would like to see in terms of police coverage? I think I can guess what it might be, but you tell me. Even if it comes down to what would you like to see? Number one.
In police coverage, or
just in fighting crime?
Brighter lights.
Brighter lights
In some of our neighborhoods. The LEDs are great. It's great. The city has saved tons of money, and would changing the way the world does the way the world does things. Yeah. But light is a deterrent. It doesn't prevent, but it is a deterrent to the petty crimes. The stealing of the grills, or the two little kids that their bikes were stolen a few weeks back. Mm-hmm. If there was more lighting in that neighborhood, the people would have been able to see the people coming out of their yard. But lighting is one of the huge issues. And again, it does, it's just a deterrent. It's not going to solve or stop, but it's a deterrent.
I thought you were going to say for sure more cops on a beat, more cops walking.
That's, again, at that same level with the lighting is more, more police on the street. And again, I know everything falls on money. We understand, we get it, but let's explore different ideas like the Cape with this summer police. They have them from, I believe it's from the end of April till October, November, when the peak times of the year.
Tourism seasons.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's, build on that. Let's see what we can find for money for that, because we do need the men and women on the street, because outside of stopping crime, they're also going to help change the way our kids see men and women in uniform.
Yeah, and hopefully the way people in general, the outside image, a lot of negative news, and that's part of what the job of the news media is, to report what's going on, and if something's going on, they really should report it. However, I just think that having more police around and visible is not a bad idea when people come to a community. I think that's that's a
great idea, and the people up there in Boston, they need to really look at getting this money. If we can find money, and it's nothing against the dike, walking on the dike, because my wife and I did that a couple of weeks ago, and it was a beautiful sight. Yep. We can find money for stuff like that. We should be able to find some money to fund our public safety officials in the city of New Bedford, whether it's the fire or police department. But we need the bodies on the street.
Well, no question, fire needs people too. One more time, Jerry, on when and where for New Bedford Night Out. One more time.
National Night Out is going to be held August 1st at the A.J. Gomes School on South 2nd Street, north side of the school. We start at 5 p.m. and around 8 p.m. We're going to have a great night of tons and tons of different agencies there. And the other thing I wanted to point out to you, Jim, was our friends from the Feast Grounds this year are sponsoring all of the food for National Night Out, which is one of the biggest things that I can say that came to our group, and we appreciate it, that connection between the community and them. Yeah. That's just an awesome thing. And the people, that really, these people care. People care about us and care about our kids.
You're telling me we're going to see a couple of malasadas out there?
No. That won't happen, but if I'm going to get you there, I'm going to buy you one.
Okay. All right. Jerry, thanks very much for coming in. Jerry Pinto from Neighborhoods United here in New Bedford with details on New Bedford Night Out. Again, August 1st, 5 to 8 p.m. on the north side of the Gomes School. North side.
Yeah, perfect. I can't believe you have notes and all that. You didn't even need to read any.
Well, Jerry, all that 45 years of training to do this show.
That's why they say you have the face for radio.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Jerry. And thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right.